I was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day, cause I found my way. I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, cause I found my way. Cause I found my way.
Okay, hi.
Hi,
Hi, Trauma Twins.
Trauma Twins. Welcome back.
Oh, so you had a coffee today.
I had a coffee today.
Tell them about your coffee because it's really good.
I had a free coffee.
Yeah.
So we went to Starbucks and I ordered what I always order, which is a chai tea with 6 pumps.
Okay. And you got
A chai with 6 chops.
as you can see. So he's like, no.
And then he wrote on it, "You rock."
My favorite was like you said, I have a free coffee, and he's like, ma'am,
Yeah,
actually
I said,
you
I have
don't.
free coffee.
And you were like, that's weird. I just paid $7 for this, but then you looked at your receipt and it was 14 something. You have $20. Yeah. Anyway, so funny.
Cheapest 8 ball there was, kids.
Yeah. So we're ready
6
to go.
shots at Starbucks.
Okay. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about narcissism.
Narcissist.
No, narcissist.
Yeah, well, narcissism too, though. But okay, so I've been doing a lot of research because of a personal experience recently. But it opened my world. I found another therapist. I wanted to know why I keep attracting narcissists because they've been a theme in our life for sure, for years.
Yeah.
And when we say narcissist, you were saying it's a fad word. Everyone
It's
throws it around, but
Kind of like a buzzword right now. Everybody wants to call somebody a narcissist because we want to have meaning or explain somebody's behavior when a lot of times we're not willing to do the inner work and look inside and see what caused the situation to be what it was, because it takes 2 to tango.
there's always two sides, yeah.
So,
And we all can have narcissistic
Yes.
tendencies.
So
Yeah.
that's another thing is a lot of people will latch on to, like today we're going to talk about the 8.
Yep. 8 traits, common
traits,
traits that
right.
narcissists have.
Anybody can exhibit those traits.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people can latch onto 1 or 2 and be like, oh, they were a narcissist. And then they go around telling everybody their ex was a narcissist. When in actuality, when we're going to diagnose somebody, that's not
You want
what
a professional
narcissist would be.
opinion always, and this is the disclaimer.
Yeah.
If you feel that you have some of these traits, why I stumbled on this is after having this encounter with this narcissist, it caught me off guard so much that I didn't spot the signs, that I couldn't tell it, because narcissists are amazing at masking. You, the whole time, listening to my stories, telling about him,
Yep.
you were like, babe.
First conversation, I was like, he's a narcissist.
But you don't
And
know
Dave-
someone, right?
Dave is the epitome of where I'm at in my life right now, of getting out of people's karma, because I will bestow upon him all this free counseling advice that would cost him like $300 in a session,
Hint.
and I will
Hint.
just lay it out there for him, and then the next day he'll be like, I'm doing the complete opposite of what you told me. And I'm just like, hands off.
Because I'm
Jesus,
one of
take the
those
wheel.
learners. I have to go through it myself, so I digest it, and it's mine. You take ownership of it when you
Yeah.
go through this, right?
Where I'm the opposite. I want to mama cub you in
Protect
this little
me.
womb of no, don't hurt him, and Dave's got to learn the hard way.
And I am resilient. I'm not
Yes.
like, but it sucks because I am a romantic. I want to believe the best in people. I always look for the good. And it's weird when people don't match you at that level when you're trying to be genuine. Yeah, I got my damage.
I think though a lot of people don't match you at your level. I
Yeah.
think that's a misconception and something that you're probably going to get into when you start to talk about limerence.
Yeah, limerence.
We tend to project onto people that they're going to love the same way that we love,
Yeah.
and that's nobody loves the way that
Or
we love.
we just make up a projection in our mind. Limerence is you attach to this version that isn't potentially not real. Like you project all of these
You create a
qualities
reality.
and characteristics
Yeah.
because you want to be in love. You want to have this perfect relationship or person, and it's just not the truth. And it takes time to get to know them. It takes time. And in the case of narcissists, they're really excellent manipulators and maskers. They present what they're very calculated. The thing of very calculated.
Very calculated.
And so they're
Think of a Scorpio energy. And I'm not saying Scorpios are narcissist at all.
No.
Because I identify very much so with a Scorpio. But how calculated they are in their moves that they make,
They're
that
always
is how
watching,
a
right?
narcissist
Yeah.
is. They are very calculated in the information that they obtain from you. They're very calculated in how they use that information.
Use it against
to
you,
elicit
too,
certain responses.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, you're hitting it on the head, and that's one of the big things. You would think, like, as an empathic person, woo!
That coffee is just woo!
This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. No, with the narcissist though, they can come off as very, like, as an empathic person,
Yeah.
you're attuned to other people's needs and the energy, right? You are genuinely interested in another person and what makes them tick, and you want to get to know them.
Or it
Narcissists
could
come
be
off
your
that
trauma.
way too.
You're trauma-based. You've learned to pick up on people and to be able to read them, to read the room
As a safety
mechanism of getting through the world.
self-preservation.
And so,
because our parents
yeah.
were that way, right? Yeah. And to navigate the house in the chaos,
Yeah,
you got to
you
know
learned
what's
that. Yeah.
what's coming down.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is, like, narcissists, they're very, where an empath, you collect information because you want to know a lot of the time. They're doing it too, but
and with a totally different
motivation. It's more ego-based. It's more outside themselves because they're trying to use this information later. Like, it helps them.
Information is currency to a narcissist.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Why I started this is because I wondered after this whole experience if I was a narcissist, because that's how they your mind, you start questioning your reality, which is the gaslighting and the way they downplay everything.
You will know because you will feel completely crazy.
It's insane. And then I look back and I'm like, oh my God, this was dad. Oh my God, this was, my ex. This was, all these behaviors. And so
where he was going with that train of thought, and the only reason I'm keeping up with it is because I had 6 shots of espresso, is if you encounter a narcissist, you're going to start wondering, am I a narcissist?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to, like, make sense of everything, and it's just such a crazy experience that you start to question, is it
your
me?
reality?
Am I the problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think as empaths, we naturally do that.
Yeah.
We want to know, we internalize because we want to know, to really fix a relationship, to find that equal ground, to make things better, to really understand where someone's coming from. You put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
A narcissist doesn't. A narcissist won't. They don't care about your emotions. It's always about them and the control and keeping up the facade, right? So again, what got me on this train of thought, and what we're going to do these next 3 probably episodes, is am I a narcissist? After having this encounter with this person, I was like, holy shit, why am I still falling for these things?
He called me and we walked through the whole relationship, and you said to me, like, when did you know?
Yeah.
And I said, I knew he was a narcissist from the very first get-go, from X, Y, and Z. And then I said, Dave, you need to do your research and look up what a narcissist is, because you clearly don't have a good understanding.
I thought I did, because our family of origin.
Understanding, you can't spot it.
Yeah.
And
especially when they're masking.
Right.
That's the other thing. Because there is a point, you can only take people at their word.
Right.
But actions never lie.
Right.
People tell you who they are.
You have to let people show you who they are.
Yeah.
You have to listen when they tell you. Because a caveat of that is, a narcissist always tells on themselves.
Always. There's always tells. And now in hindsight, looking back over the relationship, it was chilling with some of the information. I was like I got goosebumps. I was, oh my God, that was, he was collecting information. This was calculated. This was on purpose. Ooh. Where I'm having like these, and the thing with an empath.
Oh, we're having such a great connection, and I've never felt this way about anybody. Yeah, because that's not a real person. They're creating a facade.
And I'm just giving him all the information to use against me. You know what I mean? We had a conversation about deepest fears. And I'm like, wow, this is intimate. This is no, but that's what this is who I am. But it was such a different frame of reference for him, because he was taking this on to understand me and how I tick, to manipulate.
To use that against you.
Woo, girl.
Currency.
Anyway, currency. Okay, so what is a narcissist?
You tell me, Dave.
A narcissist is a person who is, from what I understand now, is incapable of empathy. They're incapable of putting themselves in other people's shoes, which is so hard for empathic people to even understand how a person like that can exist.
Yeah.
Another reason we feed into this.
Yep.
A narcissist will always find an empathic person. It's
Always.
the most toxic, crazy relationship there is, I think, right?
They're attracted
This
to
cycle.
what an empath can give.
Validation.
And an empath is attracted to the darkness, like
Yes,
dark.
because it's subconscious is the
Yeah.
crazy thing. Narcissism, again, we can have narcissistic traits
Yes.
and
I think we all
behaviors.
do.
Yes, we all do at different points because it's ego, and it's usually born out of low self-esteem. But that is very different than narcissistic personality disorder. There are some people that literally they are operating out of this all the time, and it's very calculated, and that's where that empathy piece comes in.
They haven't.
They-
The brain doesn't work the way that our brain works.
Yeah, they literally can't feel for other people. Like they can't put themselves in other people's shoes. So if you have any of these traits, if you suspect someone in your life, I want this to be like the disclaimer. You got to talk to a professional. Like
Yeah.
you can't diagnose this with just a video or scrolling
No.
around on TikTok.
No.
Talk to someone
And
because
if you're in a relationship with
Yeah.
one and you want to leave,
Ooh.
you need to get
Have to.
professional help
It can
and
get-
assistance. Narcissism is something that can be very dangerous
Yeah.
And violent.
because the
So,
control piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even the emotional aspect, you're going to need help unpacking
The
that.
manipulation and an objective sounding board.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one thing like my boyfriend has these tendencies, blah
Yeah.
blah, but there is a set behavior. So if any of this resonates, let's
Seek some help.
yeah, it's important. Seriously. Okay, so a narcissist, NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, is defined as or characterized by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a need for admiration, a lack of empathy, often leading to difficult relationships and a tendency to exploit others. So
That is key.
big
a
time.
tendency to exploit others.
So these are the 4 things, and you're going to hear these and see these in all the traits that we're going to go through 8 common traits today that narcissism can be defined by. So again, we're all going to have little smatterings of these, but if they're hitting 6 out of 8, you might want to examine some stuff, right? So the 4 big things, though: the grandiosity, a bigger than life, a unrealistic sense of self, like entitlement. Again, superiority. We'll get into that. A need for admiration. This is why the empath
Attention.
piece.
Validation.
Empaths love to shower
To love.
love. Yeah. And
Yeah.
a narcissist needs that. It's
Yeah.
like their life. Like the term is like a narcissistic hit or narcissistic supply, you'll hear. There's a
Yeah.
book too. Dr. Ramani is amazing. She's got a whole channel, YouTube channel, devoted to how to spot a narcissist, how to deal with it. So I really, really, really recommend her. Another reference is going to be Kati Morton. I'll put a link below. Just amazing therapist online. Got a bunch of stuff. So I'm actually taking from some of their videos, and we're just going to talk about our experiences through this.
Because we have it.
Yep.
Trauma twins.
So the grandiosity, the need for validation, which again, empaths constantly supply them, this narcissistic supply. They need that to feel better too. Like they come from a place of low self-esteem, right? Tragically low self-esteem, and that's their trauma. But that's why
It's the lowest level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Of self-esteem.
Yeah. That you really, and you think you can fix them, but
We don't fix people.
no,
here.
we don't fix people, right? Their lack of empathy is the third one, and then again, exploitation. So those are the 4 things you want to keep in mind. So let's go through 8 traits: how to spot or identify, or how to tell if someone is a narcissist, right? So these are common.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, here we go. Number 1.
Number 1.
Superiority. So if there is an inflated sense of self, like we all sometimes we feel good.
This is coming from the guy who sent me a video last night going, how does it feel to have a brother that looks this good?
I looked up if I am a narcissist. That's what started this. So there's traits.
Everybody can have these traits, but
But I mean, damn, right? Like, come on. Oof, oof, oof.
we got good genes, though.
Girl, we got some genes. We got some
good
genes. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Self-love is important. But superiority. A narcissist will think they are better.
Yes.
Better. But I mean, there's
Listen,
times where
how
we're like,
many
we know we're
people
better,
You've
but
been on a date, the very
Yeah.
first date. All they're talking about is, I've accomplished this.
Yes.
I've done this. I've been here, I am making this much amount of money, and it's just all about them and their achievements, and
And it's not balanced. You know when it's not balanced, when they're
Mm-hmm.
constantly like extolling their virtues, when they're constantly, like you said, it's
wanting
just
up everybody.
wanting up.
I got a promotion at work. Oh, well, I got a promotion at work. And
A big part of this is entitlement too.
Yep.
One of the references said like they feel entitled, like it's that woman who's entitled to your seat on the plane. Like
Yes.
she wants you to move for her,
sense of entitlement.
Entitlement.
White women right now.
Right. When you really intrinsically think you are better. Like at the end of the day, we joke, we have fun. Yeah, we're pretty, but there's beauty in everything. There's
A narcissist does not see it that way.
Yes.
No.
Another thing with the superiority piece, they can't take critiques well.
No.
So they're very
Want to see some anger?
and that's always going to be a part of the narcissist cycle. And all of these, it will lead to an anger when they don't get what they are looking for, the validation. There's an intense reaction. So if you can you critique something like, oh, maybe this could have done better. You say you're at work and there's an employee like this. We should have handled it this way. A narcissist has a tendency to like, it's all or nothing, right? Like, how dare they? They don't understand me. They don't know my value. They don't know like. There's that sense of entitlement of
Immediate reaction to
intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me an example of that. Someone in like Dad. I want to say there were periods like when we would challenge him.
Yeah.
He demanded.
He was entitled to our respect.
But respect is earned, right?
Respect is earned.
Right.
But there was a sense of you have to respect me because of my role, even if I'm wrong.
Or I'm treating you poorly, or
That's
like
what
yes,
I mean. And
yeah.
even if I'm in the wrong, you have to respect
Yeah,
me.
they're never wrong.
They're never wrong.
They're never wrong. They just a narcissist has a hard time admitting that they
get
don't
to
take
that one.
ownership. Yeah, but anyway, so superiority, right?
Yep. Number 2.
But the superiority piece is about
Number 1.
it's about upholding this facade.
Yes.
A narcissist wants to appear perfect, and they want everything to look controlled and within their realm of power. Because again, that insecurity piece, the low self-esteem, they're trying to make up this
They're creating a
false reality.
projection
Yes.
of what they want you to see.
And it's very important for them to maintain that, where the control piece comes in too later. So superiority, maintaining, they're always extolling their virtues.
Yep.
Okay. So the second one
Number 2.
is right. It plays right off of that entitlement.
Entitlement.
So there was an example with someone.
Do tell.
There was like a humongous line, and this happened twice in one day. And I got in line. I was like, oh, shit, we're gonna have to wait for like probably 40 minutes to get through this line.
Because normal people wait in line.
Well, yeah, it's respect, order. They follow decorum, right? And he went and cut the line to the front to ask a question, but then he ended up buying the tickets and skipped the whole line. And I was like, okay, we got someone suave here, right? No, I was like, okay, he's crafty, right? Like we all love to play the game. It happened again later at that night. We were waiting for the elevator down. And I'm not kidding, there was like an hour-long line because we were on top of this mountain. And you just got to wait. He's like, come on. And he tried to do this like little heist. He was like trying to go around the back way. And it didn't even occur to me in this moment. All these people are like, hey, the line's back there, obviously getting pissed. And like, we had a drink or two, but I was like, yeah, we need to go. We need to go back. He walks us around and he tries to cut the entire hour-and-a-half line. And the people come over and it was this little production. I felt so uncomfortable because I knew, one, it's wrong. I love a deal. But at the same time, I don't want to wait.
Screw people over,
You don't
though.
screw people over. And
No.
it wasn't like we were hurting people, but at the same time.
You're hurting people because
Yes.
you're saying my time's more important than your time.
Entitlement. He didn't want to wait. And I didn't even put it together in that moment. That was shocking to me. And I was like, I know I don't like this. I wouldn't do this. But in that moment, and so I went to the back line. I'm like, babe, let's go. Let's go. We got to wait. This is just what it is. That was one of those moments. But that's a perfect example of why they feel like they're entitled to apologies. Like, because you're the one who's wrong.
Yes.
You owe me an apology. I didn't. You're the one who did this. I need the apology.
Huge
You messed
fight.
up.
They were in the wrong. They
No
want
ownership
you
of
to
their.
apologize because of your reaction from their their blow up.
Yeah. They're entitled to your apology even if they're wrong, but they put all the blame on you. They never
Yeah.
take ownership.
No.
Never take ownership of their part in it,
They
right?
can't see and do the self-reflection
Yes.
of how they played the part to cause your reaction.
That's what I meant. You said earlier, it takes two. There's always
Yeah.
two sides. Like, I am contributing to the situation
Yeah.
just as much as you are.
There's a cause and effect to
Yes,
everything.
yes.
So something I did triggered this, something you did triggered that.
Not even blame necessarily, but sorry, you're just shedding. It's spring. Happy spring.
So if you can't do that, if you can't do the reflection, that it's not good.
It's not good. So yeah, entitlement. At work, this can look like, oh, they think they deserve the raise even though they're not doing the work or they haven't put in their time. They feel like we all have that manager who's entitled, the new one that's comes onto the,
This comes into that entitled to respect.
Yes. But also that superiority,
warning.
they think they are more than they are
Yeah.
offering or giving or showing
Yeah.
up as. It's just an unbalanced, a
Yeah.
skewed version, right? The third one,
Number 3.
the most common, and this is the most common with all narcissistic types, is the need for attention. Ooh, give me an example of someone in your life that was a narcissist that in a way that you noticed they needed attention. Like it is like air to a narcissist. They need the validation.
My dad. Okay,
Yeah.
so I always remember whenever we had friends over, I don't know if you remember this, Dave has this
Disassociation.
insane ability. Everybody in my family has this insane ability to forget everything that happened when we were growing up.
It's
And
probably not
I
healthy.
was blessed with the ability to remember everything. I have the memory of an elephant.
It's not a gift, it's
So I don't know.
disassociation.
I wish I
like,
had that gift. I
shut
want
up.
that. So I don't know if you remember this or not, but anytime we had friends over, he would put on this big production. He would
Yeah.
take us to do things. And then we would be on the way home. We'd be in the car, and he would say, "Did you have fun?" He would ask our friends,
Yeah.
"Did you have fun? Was this the best experience you've ever had?"
That's the key, the best
Was
experience.
this, was it amazing? What could have been better? It was always, he wanted to
He needed the validation.
yeah, he needed to hear you say "Oh, this was so much fun, and this was the best experience." But it wasn't even from us that he wanted that.
Yeah.
Because we no longer provided that validation. He needed it from
So
the
he's
people
seeking
on
it
the
outside.
outside. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. And it's because, again, that low self-esteem piece. They need
Yeah.
the reassurance that I'm enough.
Yeah.
I'm enough, right? So the need for attention, if you have parents, say it's a wedding and someone's making a
Oof.
toast,
Weddings are, oh man,
they got to
people's
do
colors come out.
everything to put the focus back on them. So they will take the focus. So,
I think it's really children in general, when you have parents that are narcissistic, their achievements are their achievements.
yeah.
And there's
Explain
lot
that a
of-
little more.
It's
What do you mean their achievements
It
are?
kind of comes into an enmeshment in the sense of if my child gets a promotion at work, it's because of me. And then that becomes their talking point of, oh, and I hate to do this, but the person that I'm with now, his mom does this a lot to him.
Yeah.
In that every time he has this great achievement, it's because of
Her.
and how she
In some
raised
way,
him and how she set
vicariously.
it up. And, you only had access to that because of it. And a lot of times we have conversations where he's like, I just want her to once say, I actually earned it.
Yeah.
I earned this. It wasn't something,
Other people's successes are very difficult for them.
Yes.
It's hard for them to celebrate.
Yes.
Your friend's getting married. If there's that one friend who's like, oh, but I just had the best date of my...
Everybody knows that friend.
Ew.
Yeah. Every time you throw something out on the table that's going good.
And not a way to relate, but
No.
it's to take the attention.
Yeah.
And if they don't get that attention, then there's something, a scene, drama, an explosion. And all of a sudden, the night's ruined. This is our family of origin. When things wouldn't go his way, vacations. We would go out, and seriously though, but this is trauma, right? Hi guys, welcome to Trauma Twins. We would go on vacation and have a really good,
Oh my God.
and everything would be going
Every fucking
smooth.
vacation.
Oh, this is going to turn into crying because I see it coming up. But yeah, we'd have a great time, and then
the thing is,
something
you're
would.
spending so much money
And the
on these experiences,
experiences.
and oh my
You're
God.
out of town. You travel hours, and then something just clicks, and there's an issue, and now we're having
That
a
has
fight, and then picking
spirals
arguments,
down.
and it's a way to pull attention back to them because everyone's enjoying the moment. They're not the
not
focus. Oh, and it just ruins you.
Yeah.
And this is so common with narcissists, but wow.
Yeah.
Fourth one,
Number 4
is the need to control. So we were talking about this grandiose superiority. We'll talk in another video about the types of narcissists, but this is very common in the malignant narcissist, the need to control everything.
Yep.
People, relationships, outcomes, because it's
Money.
about maintaining the facade, right? If I can control you, it's just, sorry, I'm reading that.
That's
Every
the thing.
vacation ends in a fight.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's stressful
Our family,
already,
though, like,
but our family,
we had some bad ones.
like a windshield was kicked out. Like, girl.
The windshield being kicked
And you're
out.
like, this isn't normal? Wait, this isn't normal?
Like, and then you tell people these like stories, and they're like looking at you like,
Oh, honey.
bless your heart, and you're like, oh, I thought that was normal.
Oh.
People don't kick out the windshield of the car.
No, like, we all, families fight, right? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. So
take it
anyway,
down.
need for control.
Control.
They want to keep up the facade.
Yes.
So they manipulate and they...
This comes back into when they gathered that information.
Yes.
And we talked about that.
This is why. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes into a control piece because then they use that to get a certain reaction out of you.
Yeah, and they know they know your weak points. They know what's going to trigger you.
Like you said, he asked, what are your greatest fears? Now I have the ammo to use that.
Sarah, it's so insidious.
When...
I want to know what you're afraid of so I can do everything in my power
Yeah.
to protect you.
No.
Completely opposite.
I want to know how to control you in a moment of weakness.
God, and it's chilling when you start thinking about these people in your life where they use this information to literally to undermine you, to undercut you, to make you feel dependent. Then they can gaslight you later on. They can use that to make you feel like you're the wrong. It's fucked. It's so fucked.
We keep coming back to this, me and Dave, when we're not on camera. You will know when you've had an encounter with a narcissist because you will come out of it thinking you're so crazy. And you will gaslight yourself. Did this really happen?
Am I?
What the hell?
So-
And you know when you've encountered because you're just kind of like
Disoriented.
deer in a headlight.
Yes. Oh my
you're so
gosh.
crazy.
So this form of control comes in a lot of forms, like gaslighting. This is the 101 narcissist toolkit. That didn't happen. An example that...
Not even that, just, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Have you ever had one of those fights? Well, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way.
Are you? I was thinking one of the examples...
That's not a sorry. That's not apologizing for behavior.
Yeah, not taking ownership
Yeah.
over it. I'm sorry you felt that way. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You are the problem here.
Yeah.
You're having those emotions.
It undercuts, and then you're like, well, am I being selfish?
Or did I misread it?
Yeah, maybe I was being...
Maybe his intentions weren't that.
Yeah. Wow, I assumed... And so you start to rationalize, and you start to think about... Internalize, because you want to know your part.
Person automatically is going to put themselves in the other person's shoe.
I think just a normal person, because
People
a normal...
who haven't done the work
Well,
are not able to say, okay, well, let me take myself out of this and go to their vantage point and, okay, maybe I can see how that came off that way, or
Yeah.
maybe my tone did indicate this, or maybe the pattern of words that I used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was my part in it?
Yeah.
Because you want to find remedy.
Ownership. You're taking ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do to make things right,
And a
right?
narcissist will use that to gaslight you.
Gaslighting. So one of the examples, if your spouse comes at you and, why don't you ever take out the trash? But you're the only one taking out the trash every week, and they're like, no, why won't you take out the... It's those little things that undermine...
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, she had an epiphany.
We had COVID or the flu. I don't even know what happened in our house, but it was bad.
I didn't give it to her for the first time ever. I've always given her COVID.
David's given me
3
COVID
times,
3
right?
times. In fairness, I don't really go out a lot, but
God, that car trip. Let's go.
he almost killed our grandma.
Oh my God.
Woo!
Have I killed her?
So we had some sickness going on, and I was the one who got sick first, and I come back to mom, right before my surgery, she said something that just irked me. She was like, everybody in the family knows that you can handle pain, and I thought, that doesn't mean that I
Because
want
of
to
you.
handle pain.
No, I'm kidding.
She's like, but you have a high pain tolerance, and so coming into this thing, I was sick, and the whole time I was like, maybe it's allergies. Is this allergies? Like, I kept telling you, I'm like, I think I have bad allergies right now. And he got sick. and he said, why didn't you tell me it was this bad? And I just looked at him and I was like, I didn't know I was allowed to complain about it this much. And like, he gave me that, bitch, what look? And he goes, where did that come from? Who said that to you? Because I've never said to you, like, I said to him, all week you kept saying to me, do you need to go to the emergency room? Do you need to go to urgent care? And I was taking that because of my past relationships with a narcissist. I was taking that as he was, patronizing me or like calling me out. Like, well, if it's that serious, then you need to go to the doctor. Like, that's how I was taking it. But he was like, I was genuinely asking you because I didn't know how bad you felt. Like, thought you wanted to go to the hospital. And I took it as, oh, it's because, like, all that programming, conditioning of I'm too dramatic or I'm too much. And so in that moment, I snapped at him and I said,
oh, that's a great example of where
so
we're
I have
triggered.
been gaslit so much that even now to this day, I'm like... I'm not allowed to say anything. I'm not allowed to like project when I'm feeling a certain way because
the way
I was taught and I was too much. Or I was being too dramatic or I was being too sensitive. So the whole time I'm like, I want to call out of work, but I'm being too much or I'm being too dramatic. And I was gaslighting myself into, okay,
because you've taken on that identity of,
I was trying to explain it away like, oh, it's not COVID, it's allergies. And
that's an awesome observation,
yeah, because he looked at me and he just had this like, bitch, what? Look, like...
And then when you encounter like a healthy relationship
I
after...
snapped at him like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know we could be a baby. Like, I snapped, like, man up.
Oh, but this is healing now,
and then immediately he said, like, where did that come from? And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You got to see it from a different perspective, and that's how it heals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay, need for control.
So you can gaslight yourself.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like narcissists.
Because we take it on. You take on that.
A relationship with narcissists, you get programmed, and that's why we said at the beginning, like the whole preface of this was, you need professional help because you get programmed to behave and act a certain way to where I'm now gaslighting myself.
Yeah, because you've taken on that identity throughout the course of the...
I've taken on the identity of I'm too much or I'm too dramatic, so I don't say anything. I'm silent. I will suffer through.
Wow.
I went to work when I should have been calling in. I couldn't even talk.
And this is years.
Videos. I wasn't even able to talk to you.
Years of conditioning.
Yeah.
So if you've been in a marriage with a narcissistic person for years, like there's a lot to unpack, a lot to unravel, a lot of behaviors that you need to examine.
It's probably been at least 8 years since I've really dealt with any narcissist, like on a daily basis.
Wow.
And it's still something that I have to unpack even now.
So I want to just recap what we've been talking about in this first episode, which is what a narcissist is and the 4 common traits that all narcissistic types have in common. And that would be this idea or sense of grandiosity, the need for validation and attention. It's their lifeblood. They always need validation outside of themselves. There's always a lack of empathy present in these personality types where they just can't put themselves in other people's shoes. It's just not available to them in the way they operate. There's always a commonality of exploitation, using others. Their actions are always motivated or geared towards helping themselves at the expense of others. These 4 characteristics are common between all the types of narcissism that we'll talk about actually in the third part of this video, including communal narcissism, malignant, the grandiose, just really fascinating to see how it presents in different people around you. And today we got through 4 of the common traits that will help you identify or be aware of narcissistic behavior in yourself or those around you. And the first being superiority. The second, entitlement, The third, just a desperate need for attention and validation. And this fourth trait, the need to control, is definitely the meatiest out of all of them that we talk about in the podcast. So I wanted to split it up because next week we start off on a really interesting conversation on these manipulation methods, and we get into a conversation on love bombing, which is so fascinating, and how I was really susceptible to it and I didn't even know it. It is staggering how disorienting and chaotic an encounter with a narcissist can leave you feeling, like just unbalanced, because you start to question your reality that you take for granted because of different behaviors and manipulation tactics that you've experienced through subtle means that you're not even aware of in the moment. I can't wait to share this with you next week. I'm going to put links down below for Dr. Ramani's It's Not You book, which is just an amazing guide for helping you work through, identify, and cope with the aftermath of being involved with a narcissist, how to break free of it, and again, how to build up that self-confidence and self-worth to make the moves, to stand up and to recognize the behaviors that are keeping you in this cycle, this narcissistic cycle. And it's time. I'm going to put all of this Divinity and Trauma Twins podcast content on streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, so be on the lookout for that. It's time, and I can't wait to make this available in another form for you. I'm also really excited to announce the launch of my Divinity Dave Patreon, and I want to share that with you. I am so excited to curate this space where I can offer you a more intimate look into my life and my travels, but also how I've been doing this Divinity platform, how I've been building it, the people I've been working with, and the direction I want to take it. I'm getting a lot of questions and people excited to do something similar, to take their passion and what they're offering, what they know they can offer the world, and how to do it. So by just showing you my process, I'm hoping that will shed some light in my journey into what's available to you and what you're capable of. I'm most excited, though, about starting the Divinity Dave Book Club, where I'm going to be doing a monthly virtual meetup, going through a reading list, in essence, of books and ideas and concepts that have transformed my life, that have put me on a path, that have brought so much growth, that have brought so much awareness to my journey, and really started the fire, started a lot of what I've been offering to everyone else through this platform. But the biggest goal of this Patreon is to create a space where I can connect with you personally and help foster your growth, your spiritual expansion, if you will, even if that's just interest and looking for new ideas or for new paths to knowledge. Or if you want to deep dive and get monthly card readings and start to learn how to connect with your intuition on an individual daily basis, I'm going to be making myself available and this community to do just that. I can't wait. I am so excited. Come back next week for these last 4 traits of how to identify a narcissist and their behavior, and this conversation on love bombing that will... It's so much more than you think, and it's amazing when you start recognizing these patterns in your life. And I want you to know I love you guys. See you soon.